And it says we're live. It definitely says we're live. Right. And today we obviously have me, Brett Builds, and my good buddy, Briggsloff.
Hi.
Who's currently building. And this evening we've come on for a bit of a chat, bit of a rant, bit of a build, bit of whatever you like. As long as you're not offensive, we don't mind. And topic one for me is going to be, and I've already spoke to Sloth a little bit about this previously, is all these PDFs. Now, I can speak for myself and Sloth and say that neither of us download PDFs and build what other people build. My love of Lego, I mean, Sloth will tell you himself in a second, but my love of Lego comes from the fact that I can have a spark of inspiration and just create whatever comes into my head. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love other people to love what I love. How you doing, Ateez? But what I do is a one-of-a-kind thing. It's purely me, no help, no guidelines, no one to question if I do it wrong. It is just purely sit down with whatever your sauce may be, a cream cake and a cup of tea, a can of Monster and a chocolate bar, whatever it takes. Get a box of bricks, get a couple of base plates and get an idea. That is what Lego is about to me. What about you, Sloth? What's your idea on all of this, buddy?
My idea is I want to lay my hands on some bricks and I want to build something with the bricks that I have. And if I don't know how to build something, I'll watch a video and watch somebody build theirs, and that'll give me an idea of how to build it. But I'm not going to try and build that. I'm going to build something of my own. Because even if it's not as complicated, even if it's not as good, even if it's not as polished, well, it's mine and it's unique. And so I like it better.
I'm the same. You know, I work on the basis of instructions are there to show you how to build it once. After that, it is left to you how, when, what, why you use and where and when to build something else out of what you've already got. And I mean, we've spoke before, Sloth. I've got the Jurassic Park house, for argument's sake. I don't collect Jurassic Park, but the house looked such a good modular style building that I couldn't say no to it. I've got the dinosaurs. They mean nothing to me. It's the building I bought. And again, in chat earlier, I spoke to somebody and they turned around and said, oh yeah, all the bits from that Jurassic house helped me build a bigger Sanctum Sanctorum from the Marvel sets. And I was like, straight away, somebody's sort of got the glimpse I've got, seen that the building's useful for parts, even if it's just for the tan parts, and bought the set and turned it into something else. Now, to me, that is the whole idea of Lego. When you watch these prehistoric Lego videos, when it was just bricks and barely minifigures, if you can call them that, people used to do amazing things with such little Lego. In today's society, Sloth, and I'm sure you find this, I mean, we started talking over smaller parts. That's what got me and Sloth in together as best friends.
Yep.
For me, Lego has now brought out so many advanced pieces, i.e. corner slope roof tiles. There's a prime example, Back in the day, you had the generic red. And if you give me a second, I'll pull one off of one of my Lego sets there. You have the generic red sloped, I suppose, one before. Now, to me, back in the day, these were what you used on every roof, building houses, etc., etc. In today's society now, you have smaller tiles that are purposely built for corners. You know, I mean, when I was a child, I never had the option for a brick that went onto the corner of a building. You know, I suppose back then Lego was very basic in its block form. It was very square. Give us a twirl of what you got. Let the pirate and the doctor going for a little cruise in the hidden sidecar.
Yeah, it's the hidden sidecar that, since I've got one, what did it come from, the Shrimp Shack? Yeah, I've got one that I haven't built yet, and I wanted them to look different. So I started digging through my parts and going, well, this looks like it might look kind of car related. This looks like it might look kind of car related. And I didn't have enough of any one particular color. So it's looking a little bit strange, but it doesn't look as much like the original hidden sidecar.
This is true. And this is our whole point, you know. I could sit and put instructions up for every set I ever build, every mock I ever build. I mean,
instructions. I don't even know how I built some of the stuff that I built.
Well, this is
I'd
the
have
thing,
to think about it and do it all over again.
If you asked me to replicate this, if you took this apart and then said build it again exactly the same, Brett, I'd look at you with a very puzzled face, my friend, because sometimes the inspiration will only come once. Your helicopter, look. See, if you didn't know, how you doing, the burner? I've got my buddy Bricksloff here, and he's still tinkering with the parts that I sent him over from the UK, building things. Yeah. I mean, I'm not building. I was, and I mean, I'll give you a little, just for a minute, seeing as it's on. We got the green cargo sitting there, looking very blue at the front. I like that. You know, I don't often run it at night, Sloth, but can you see that hint of blue coming from in the cab?
Mm-hmm.
I've never noticed that because I don't generally run it at night, but we'll send it round for a loop, see if it crashes into anything like it did earlier when I happened to be on a live stream. Here she comes, ready. I love the way that as it comes from up the top of the room up there where you can sort of see it picks up speed. It's like a downward slope once the train starts going. If you put a minifig in the way, I think it would decimate that minifig. Because once the train starts going, even if you cut the motor off, it's got that much momentum behind it that it carries on rolling for another 2 or 3 seconds every time.
That's how you end up with patients for the hospital.
The hospital's up the back there, you know it.
Yeah.
And again,
I know that you built it, so you got to have people to be in it. Otherwise, what's the point in having built it?
I suppose this is true. I mean, again, you know, as I said last night, I was flexing to the likes of Buckchop and other people. I was like, they're not perfect sick figs, but they're as near as you're going to get. And then we've got Sloffer in with a glass in his hand. We've got Brett's build in his train attire, again with a glass in my hand, with a backwards hat. You've got to have the backwards hat. That is just so a Brett trait. Then we've got our good friend, Winterbricker. Again, she's got the gold chariot. Very lucky person to have the gold chariot. And then finally, wherever he is with his Viking hat on, here we go. We have my good friend, and he even had the T-shirt on yesterday. I was so proud. We have my good friend with his Viking helmet and his dark goblet, Buckchop 2021.
Yay!
And at the moment, they are the only sick figs I've actually got. Now, I know you've got a Brett one because Buckchop was grilling me on it last night. He was like, what's the one that Sloth's got? I was like, I don't know, buddy. He's like, it's a blurdy blur. And I was like, yeah, probably.
He is. I'll grab him.
Oh, why am I putting the old guy on the train? Look, see? Losing him faculty's here. So putting the wrong people on the train. There he is. Yeah, see, that's...
I think he's Aqua somebody number 5.
Yeah, because last night Buckshot was saying to me about it, and I said, yeah, no, believe it or not, I mean, I know we are worlds apart, me and you, but I did actually bring my minifigure in, if I can find him. Obviously, you've got the generic, you've got the Brexfield Joker in my own little train car. You'll like this train car, look, because it's got flames coming out the back.
On fire.
Yeah, that is a train car and a half. Right, hang on, because I'm missing the quad. The quad's found. Ah, here I am. My actual minifigure, or my sick fig, that I created for myself, he's there. And it's the Joker hat with a Joker torso with just a generic pair of yellow legs. But yeah, I changed the face on him and the legs because he was bought probably many moons ago in a lot of stuff that I had a while back, and yeah, I'd never got round to upgrading him. So if I had to choose a figure for myself, that would be my sick fig. But then Joker is obviously my logo, and again, as you know, Slothrin, I happen to have the Joker tattoo as well because I consider myself a little bit of a nutter. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit of crazy is fine. Too much is dangerous. A sane man once told me that.
You just have to stay on the right side of the line.
This is it. Now I'm dropping
all balanced.
Bits and pieces. Oh dear. What do you think? We've been going for 12 minutes already, Sloth. It doesn't feel like it, does it, buddy? As soon as you press live on these things, it just... time seems to speed up.
I'm not keeping track. I'm dividing my between you talking and I'm here playing with the cars. So if you want me to read comments, I'll have to get onto my phone and switch screens and stuff. So
yeah, no, that's cool. I'll deal with the comments, buddy. I'll deal with the comments at the moment. It says there's nobody viewing, but we don't care. We're not here.
Yeah, we don't care.
We're here to have fun, buddy. That's what, you know, this hobby's about for us. We have a laugh, we have a crack. Occasionally we crash a train or two. I like earlier stuff. Got to tell you, buddy, this made my day. Tommy Lee, I brought him down earlier because he was creating again, and I was on Steve Reynolds' stream. Shout out to Steve Reynolds. You know, please go and give him a look up. The guy's got many a mini figure, a large collection, and he's all about Marvel. Yeah, Steve's a good guy. I brought Tommy Lee down earlier, and as I'm talking to Steve in the same manner I was to you that day, with that Tommy's turned the controller on for the train. This time he's actually turned the train on, and he's sitting there pressing the controller, wondering why the train ain't moving. And I'm like, no, you've got to press the buttons. And with that, of course, the train's gone round. But I tell you, he's a nightmare. He is true. He is the protege of Brett Spiels. At 2 years old, I was probably still eating dirt. Do you know what I mean? I was not messing with like very advanced Lego trains. He does. He surprises me every day with the way he is with this train set. Every day. Hello, Daddy. Choo-choo. Daddy. Choo-choo. And the car. And the car is because he watches a lot of... I can never think of his name. I'm going to have to give him a shout out at some point. But yeah, it's on YouTube. Basically, he watches the cartoon stop motions of the Lego people, you know. Mm-hmm. He comes out of the house, gets in his car, and with that, Tommy's up there, Daddy, car. Then he'd drive to the gym and do the weights. And like, as he's doing the weights, the minifigure, the bar falls down. With that, Tommy's sitting there, oh no, Daddy's going, look what's happened. You know what I mean? He's next level for a 2-year-old, you know. I know people say, oh yeah, we can't wait for our child to grow up. He's going to be a nightmare, mate, because when he grows up, he's going to be like, choo-choo, car, Not interested. If it ain't about them two, I don't want to know. But yeah, the little monkey got hold of the control earlier and was trying to mince the trains round the track. I don't know. What do you think, Sloffer? And I'm going to ask you a question, and I want your honest opinion as one of my best YouTube buddies and my real life buddy as well.
Okay.
I think I said it last night on Hoosier's stream, or I've been saying it the last probably month or so. Now, if we look at the layout, and I'll move the camera and point it at the layout, and I'll put the camera up a little bit, you can see the layout goes all the way up to the back of the room where the final arch is. Can you see the arch at the back of the room on the white wall?
Yeah.
That is where the train stops. That's where the track stops as well. That's the last curve before it comes back down and round to me. Now, I keep having vivid visions. Is that the right word? I think it is vivid. It's a tongue twister at that. Vivid visions. What I keep seeing is I have 3 tables in this room, which the train runs out over on the layout. Now, to me, I like the 3 layout. You know, the 3 table layout. It's rather large. There's a lot with it. You can do a lot with it. And I often do.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me thinks, because me and you here, this is where I do the plug, and I'll put the camera back on myself. Me and Bricksloff are taking an hour this year on the 72-hour winter stream. So, you know, if you want to come and see what crazy we get up to, then please don't forget that the 72-hour stream will be in November. There will be information about it forthcoming, I'm sure. Again, I might even do another video if it comes to it, whatever. But back to the point in hand, the 3 table deal. Now, I have 2 options. I can leave the trains as they are and just try and build around them, which, as a mock builder, I'm going to tell you, Sloth, is quite hard. You know, thinking of things to build, to put with it, are now becoming tiresome. Option B is that I put the track back to a lot smaller loop, raise it up 3 or 4 levels. Look. That car is cool.
Well, this is one of the ones that came with the tiny turbo, the tuner garage set that I mocked and made into my Brick Street Customs garage.
Yeah.
And this is the only one that actually came with a real windshield that was translucent instead of solid. And also the only one that didn't come with stickers splashed across multiple bricks.
Yeah.
So I decided that this was the one that I could most easily modify to actually hold minifigures. And that's the reason why nobody bought that set originally that, you know, does Legos now, because it didn't come with any minifigures. And you couldn't put the minifigures in the car. So that was one of my goals with having this. It's like, you know, man, I know that I can turn this into a car that can hold a minifigure. You know, I just have to work at it. So there we go.
Can I suggest something, Sloth? You see how you've got the front of the car, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It looks, to me, anyway, looking through a camera, to me, it looks very much like it's hot rod front end. You get what I'm saying? If you turn it sideways, it's all very exposed. Hi, Sarah. How you doing? Sarah's a good friend of mine, Sloth. She's from the UK. She lives with her partner. She used to live above me and put up with me. She's been a subscriber since sort of, before I really did YouTube. But yeah. Hey, Sarah, I'll give you a little flash of what we're doing. It's all Lego life. As you can see, my lovely train sets are all spread out and whatnot and what forth. But yeah, where were we? Getting distracted, like I always do. What was we on about? Yeah, the hot rod look. I like that with that car. To me, that car is now done. The fact that you've managed to get a figure in it, the front end's off, it's like a hot rod. I mean, again, this could be because I've been watching a lot of American hot rodders. I don't know, just recently on YouTube. But as that car looks now, to me, that is done, buddy. I would happily put it in Brett's Build City. I mean, I know the city's a mess, but I would happily put it in the city as is. To me, that's the finished product. I mean, you may not be happy with it, but to me, looking down,
finished to me. I mean, I just wanted it to. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to change it too much because I thought that it looked cool before I started. It was solid. It was built up, flat, up, to here. It's like, well, I just need to hollow out a space for a minifigure and then finish off the extra pieces. I ended up having to pull out more than I thought I was going to, though.
It's often the case.
It turns out it was all done with plates with these, so all just built up on top of each other. So I had to get out some 1x to make some sides to the car.
I feel you, buddy, because that's what I done with the hidden side train when I put the motor in it. As I started building it, I got to the point where I had to start adding the bits I didn't want to add. And at that point, I basically threw the instructions away and carried on.
So there's that one.
Yeah. See now this to me, that is what Lego is about, mate. You took a number of parts, not necessarily the right parts for the job, but you've made them into what you wanted them to be. And for what I think some wheels and some people and a few other bits and bobs. But, pardon me, my gratitude is seeing you build crazy things out of parts that I wouldn't even use, buddy, that sit in drawers here. Do you know what I mean? I'd hate to send you one of my stacks of Lego. I'd never see you. You'd never put no content out. You'd just be building the city, wouldn't you?
Well, eventually I'll do a video on the cars anyway.
Well, this is it. And Sarah, if you're still here, please go and check out my good friend Brick Sloth on YouTube. He does some brilliant stuff with the cities. The colour in his cities is second to none. I have not found anybody that has such an extensive colour palette in their city like you do, buddy. Your city just lights me up every time I look at it. Every time you tell me there's a video, the first thing that catches my eye is the colour of your city. Every single time. So, yeah, I mean, I know it's maybe a universal selling point, but your city is probably one of the most colourful I've ever seen. And taking into account I've only ever seen my city, I think that's a little bit of an honour there, buddy, because, but no, your city has colour. It has colour, but it just doesn't have the love it needs at the moment, which is, that's on me. I get that. I'm so into the trains. But, back to what we were chatting about earlier. Now, with the 72-hour stream coming up, Brett feels changes in the wind. And something in my head keeps telling me to take this entire track down and go back to the loops that I had in the other room. Where this one is more length, in the other room it was more height. I didn't have the length to run the trains, so I run them higher. Now again, with what I've got here in track, I can probably run enough loops so that I can have pretty much every train I've got a motor in going round. But to do this, that also means that the two tables behind me are going to sit here dormant. So does it mean that I bring some of the city in and have a little play with that? See, this is my dilemma. I mean, I wish I could give this dilemma to somebody else and say, look, just answer it for me. But we both know, as creators, in your head, you constantly argue with yourself over anything you ever build. If you build something, you look at it and think, oh, but that ain't right. But then you think, well, hang on, give yourself a bit of a break. Oh no, but it's not right. And you know, being mop builders, this is the art of the mop, isn't it? I suppose. You know, we build things, and sometimes you don't get it right first time. Sometimes we tear it back down to nothing, and we start again.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes your second build is worse than your first. You know, it is all about having the inspiration to build these things. And I mean, you've seen it, Sloth. You know what I'm like with castles. You give me a bag of castle bits and a base plate in 10 minutes and I'll build you something. It might not be the best something, but I can, you know, and all these people with PDFs and, oh, yeah, well, someone else done this, you know. It's all well and good for you people that get these PDFs, but you know, I mean, you're not enjoying the hobby to its full potential. The full potential is
to be creative.
Yeah. You know, if that's the case and you're new to Lego and watching my video, please take this as a #1 USP, universal selling point. If you are new to Lego and watching my channel, please go out and the first thing you buy yourself is one of them 1,200 piece box of bricks. Don't bother with figures, don't bother with cars, don't bother with buildings. If you cannot create stuff out of a box of bricks yourself, then any building, any set, any vehicle, any figure you get is not going to improve on that. Now, me personally, I can sit and build anything out of standard bricks. I can build you people, vehicles, whatever it takes, you know. Mm-hmm. To me, my skill is 50 parts and a plate, as I said, you know. From that, I would hope that, you know, the man upstairs cranks the wheels and all of a sudden this divine inspiration hits, and with that, the hands start working, you know. All of this PDF, you know, if that's the case, then what I should really be doing is every mock I ever make, I should be putting the PDF up and charging people to copy what I do, because then you'll have a city that looks exactly like mine, wouldn't you? You know, the whole idea of a Lego city is it's your city. And I mean, I know you're epically building, Sloth, but can I ask you, buddy, can you grab the phone and give the people watching a little quick span of Sloth City, please?
Sure. Turn the thing around here.
Like I said, people, Sloth City is, it's colour heaven, you know? The blue looks so much better as well. So much better. Hang on. No, wrong one. Hang on. I will get there. I wonder. There we go. Look at that. See? See what I mean, people, about Sloth City? Look at this place, man. The colour from this, you know. If you ain't got HD, baby, you need it for this city. I mean, again, just look at the colours, man. They pop all the time. I mean, the way you just use most generic parts, you know, I mean, we are two very different builders, but we come together in the love of, one, the standard brick, and two, the vintageness of Lego, because myself and Sloth, we are firm believers in the old sets, not the new sets, although we both have a selection of both. I mean, for me, given the choice of the newest sets and the vintage sets, I know where my money goes every time. The new sets are going to be out for the next 3 or 4 years. The vintage stuff is becoming harder and harder to find, as we know.
There's my Brick Street custom garage.
Yeah, totally built, designed, thought up, and stressed out over by Brick Sloth only.
There's the animal rescue that now has 3 floors.
Oh, I did see on Insta that, yeah, you'd acquired a few animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So what's next? Is it going to be single brown tiles everywhere?
I think that pretty soon everybody in town is going to be walking a German Shepherd.
I mean, again, just look at the colour. Look. London Bridge Brick saying that there's no Lego buses. Oh my God! Oh, look, the baby shop. Look, you're going to be proud of me for this one, Slothrin. I don't know if you've ever seen this. If you've got your eyes on the camera quickly, can you see this?
What am I looking at?
Now, what I'm holding up to the camera.
Is that one of those? Is that one of those chairs from? What is that?
It's like a baby's crib. Give me a second to take the baby out. What you've got, Slothrin, is, hang on. You've got a single piece at the back. You've got the generic, hang on, the generic, what I call taps. There's 4 of them on the bottom, on a 2x4 plate, and then you've got sides round it like it's a baby nurser. I suppose that's the correct terminology for it. With the orange light, because obviously when the babies are born, they like to keep them heated, don't they? But yeah, don't ask me where this come from. I found it in the other room, buddy. But yeah, I thought the design was cool, and you know, I thought I've got to show it to you because it's got a baby in it as well. Because you do have the baby store, didn't you?
Yep.
Right,
My Alien Cultural Relations Center now has somebody that people will recognize in charge. I put Benny from the movie in there. Can't get his head turned around, but that's movie Benny. You can see him through the door.
Come on then, explain the building next to it. Come on, because Sarah's new to this. So
okay, that is it's called Club Ganymede. It's a nightclub. It's our gay bar here in Sloth City. And standing in front of it is Miss Pax Vobiscum. She is a drag queen that has Friday and Saturday night shows, so she'll be going in there pretty soon.
That's it. The patrons will all be wanting the show.
There's my double-decker bus.
Yeah. But apparently Lego don't make these. Don't forget that.
Yep, none. No buses at all.
Yeah, hang on. I'm totally with you. 1 second. Yeah, no, you know. When other YouTubers say it, it must be the law, mustn't it?
Oh, well, I guess it depends on who's saying it.
Yeah.
He is an up-and-coming YouTuber, so he must know, right?
For the record, London Bridge Bricks, if at any point you do get to watch this, there is no buses, no. There's the one that Si O'Connor waved at you with the Adidas flag on the top. That's fully built, fully accessible 2-door bus.
Whereas mine is the vintage 1979 double-decker bus that originally the top of it was closed, and so I ripped the top off of it and put the old thingy around so it could have the observation deck on top. And I've been told that, oh, well, you're not allowed to stand up on those. They're all supposed to be sitting down. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is Sloth City. We don't have rules here.
I was going to say, can you tell me then, look, can you see the guy at the front of this bus? He's got a microphone in his hand, standing up.
There we go.
True.
Yours
Yeah,
too.
like you said.
How are you supposed to see anything if you're sitting down?
Exactly. But yeah, just quickly, even though there are no buses, this is bus number 2 from the city set. I don't know the number, but if you're really interested, I'm sure you can look it up. And oh, look, would you imagine another bus? So what's that? 4 in total when there's apparently none.
Yep.
Greg from London Bridge Bricks, you need to do your research, buddy.
I think that he meant that there weren't any that have been any new sets with buses, any sets that have come out since he's been paying attention, which means like in the past year.
I was going to say, this one, Sloth, I'm pretty sure this is from last year's city set. So this one's not that out of the loop, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, again, one I got as a parts bundle. Yeah, one of the yellow buses I got as a parts bundle. The green one, this one was again part of a set, I think. So I mean, yeah, they are mostly in sets, but they do exist. Oh, they exist. And I mean, this London bus, I think this London bus being open top is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Just like you've done yours, buddy, you know. Big respect for that, because I don't think you'd ever seen that bus, really. So the fact that you copied, pardon me, pretty much the same idea, but you'd never seen it, just goes to show, doesn't it?
Well, I knew that I wanted to be able to fit people in it, and it wasn't originally designed for that. It didn't have a modular top on it. So I just ripped the top off of it and figured, you know, as I get the little handle pieces, I'll put those on. But in the meantime, I'll just have a kind of a crenulated wall running around, because otherwise I couldn't fit any people on my bus, although I do have a bus driver now.
Yeah.
There he is.
You see, look, it's actually the London bus. Look at, I bet that sticker on the front. You know what I mean? Stuff like this you just don't see anymore, people. It's all that new Mario crap. All that Mario crap that, I'm not being funny. If I wanted Mario, I'd go and buy Mario. You know, Mario. I'm sorry, and I'm going to offend a lot of people in the Lego community here, but to me, Mario has no place in the Lego community at all.
I don't know. It might. It just doesn't interest me.
I mean, again, there's not even anything you can generically use in the cities. It is just purely. Don't get me wrong. If you're
use the parts, I assumed it was made out of Lego parts. Is it not made out of Lego parts?
Yeah, 90% of it is, but then you've got the 10% that's Nintendo that just wouldn't go with the city anyway. Like the warp zones and things, Sloth. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't see putting warp zones in my city. Look at that vintage space. Oh, vintage. That's what space is about. Look, you can see. Look, even that front grey panel, they were talking about this the other night on for Zoom stream. I think that piece is about $6 now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything with space logos on it is very expensive. I mean, again, our good friend Buckchop 2021, he was flexing the vintage grey arrows with the yellow infill.
Uh-huh.
I mean, again, I've got a few of them, but none to major scale. I tell you what, I'm liking the two printed pieces there, Sloth.
Aren't those cool?
I've never seen them before, buddy. So it just goes to show everything is an education, doesn't it?
And it's hard to show them, but there's even more. See right there through the screen?
Yeah. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, just kind of as a sleeper throwaway sort of thing. And I found that on eBay. And what did I pay for that? I think I paid $5.50.
So that's what I mean, you know.
And all of those pieces are absolutely pristine. They look like they were put together and then they got stuck in a box and left for, what, 20 years?
Which, as we know, is often the case. A lot of people buy Lego for children. Children grow up. The Lego sits around and the children don't. I mean, not going to moan because...
My other spurious guy. Where is my other spurious guy? There he is. Here we go. So. Him.
He's got that devious look on his face, Sloth, hasn't he? Like he's about to cause chaos.
So. He's got that printed
I do like that helmet yeah,
piece.
That's something else. Definitely.
So he came in it, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 of those printed pieces, and there's all of the just the vintage, the finish on the bricks, and the windscreen, which again,
when you think of vintage as a rule, Sloth, you think of bricks that have been chewed up by children, half eaten. When, in my experience, when you look at the older stuff, 99% of it has been looked after by the parents, not the children.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we can still get, in today's society, vintage stuff like that in such good condition. I mean, again, we've both got vintage, and yeah, we could talk about vintage forever. I mean, we've been 41 minutes, buddy. We peaked to 2 viewers, and considering it's like 1:15 in the morning in the UK, that's not bad going, actually.
Hello to the viewers. I don't know who you are, but hi.
Do you know what? Every time I look at your post office, I think I've got to go and rob a Duplo set to get that post signed.
I think it's cool. That's a Duplo brick.
That's what I mean. Just something as simple as that, Sloth, makes your city stand out so much more. It's not about the thousands of pounds. It's not. Lego's not about the cost. It's about the enjoyment. And if you're spending the thousands of pounds, then you're obviously not having the enjoyment that we get out of spending a few pounds.
Yeah.
Or dollars, as it would be in Sloth's case, you know?
Yeah. I can't imagine that people who have that kind of money are getting as much fun out of their bricks as I am.
You know, again, I mean, being that you're a city guy and I'm a train guy, you hear it from me every time we talk. I'm generally crashing trains or something's happening. All the other Lego YouTubers that have trains would never dream of crashing their trains. And it's like, well, why did you buy them then? You know what I mean? It's, you know, if that's the case, go and buy Hornby. I like
Well,
Lego.
recently it seems like everybody who's buying trains are buying them because they're hoping to get views.
Well, this is it. You know, this is why Brett's best train builds is one of a kind. There will never, ever, 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 ever on this planet be anyone as crazy about building train circuits in Lego as me. And I will fight anyone on that. If you think you can imagine better than me, please drop me a comment, because I'd be very interested in talking to you. I mean, again, don't get me wrong, with the trains, a lot of the things that stop me is budget. Yeah. We are a large family. Family comes first. Lego is my hobby. It's not my job. I don't expect people that watch me to pay for me. If I can't afford Lego, then I won't be on YouTube, would I? It's as simple as that.
Well, if I can't afford more Lego, I might still be on YouTube, but I'll be doing it with the bricks that I have. I'll be playing around with what I've got. I won't be buying new sets. Yeah, and as it is, I'm not buying the new sets, so people aren't tuning into my channel for that. But I assume if they're tuning in, it's because they like Sloth City and they like the things that I build and the things that I collect.
I think London Bridge Bricks said it pretty much on point earlier, Sloth. The whole thing with the new sets is they're a phase. You know, all the people not rushing out to buy Diagon Alley know that it's still going to be there in a year's time. It'll still be the same price, but it'll still be there.
Yeah, it won't be any cheaper.
You know,
it still won't be in my budget.
No.
And I don't have that much interest in it anyway. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not that I don't think it's cool. I think that it's cool. But it's like the modulars. If I had modulars, I would build them and then I just stick them in my city because there's nothing else I can do to make them better. They're already done.
How you doing, Brixish? It's only me and Sloth having a little chat, talking cities and trains and how we don't like people that download PDFs because they can't build themselves. It's not that we don't like them. I just think it's unfortunate.
We think that they are missing a lot by doing that and not coming up with their own ideas.
This is it, you know. And this is what we're about. Like you said, Sloth, you pretty much hit the nail on the point. You know, Mrs. Bretsfield used to or still does collect Harry Potter. Everything up to the Burrow and the Weasley house and Diagon Alley, we've pretty much got minus the rather large castle that's nearly £500. We've got Hedgewick, we've got all the Quidditch, I've got all the funny animals, all the Patronus animals, all the minifigures. And Mrs. Brett Fields is like no longer interested in it. And I said to her, sell it and enjoy the money. Because to me, Harry Potter is not something I'm interested in. Don't get me wrong, I've watched all the films. I think it's absolutely brilliant, you know, to view. But in the Lego basis, it's just like Star Wars. It's just an endless pit of money. And they're just
an endless pit of money. I don't want to give any more money to J.K. Rowling because she's turned out to be, you know, an intolerant sort of person who would not be welcome in Sloth City if she tried to visit. So if I were to be getting Harry Potter stuff, I would get it aftermarket. But the only thing that I would want is that purple night bus. And I wouldn't want it to put it in Sloth City as is. I'd want it to take apart and turn it into a building and have a big, tall purple building, you know, that's like 3 stories tall and full of purple windows. And that's what I would do with it. I would have a purple building and it wouldn't even be a bus. And if I were to do that, I would try to get a set that didn't come with all of the minifigures because it's a waste. Because I don't really like the ones that aren't yellow. I like them to be yellow.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, again, for me, even not being a Harry Potter fan of the Lego, the only thing I think I would want, and you were pretty much on point with the night bus because of the purple and the stuff involved. For me, I've always had this vision in my head, and this brings me back to Mark. And not PDF people, right? PDF is something somebody else has done. I have a vision in my head, and if at the point that I decide to do this, I've got the money to do this, I want to go and buy a couple of the Quidditch sets, and I want to get some green base plates, and I want to build a Quidditch stadium. I've always wanted to do that ever since Mrs. Bretsfield started collecting. Now, I know there's one Quidditch set next door that I can use. I just need to acquire that second one. But yeah, like we said, I'll give you a quick run through on my Harry Potter Forks of Diagon. Yes, quite a nice set. Not too out there in the price if you are a die-hard Harry Potter fan. For me, like you said, you know, the minifigures I've got no interest in. Got no interest in any of them. If I was to buy Diagon Alley tomorrow, I would sell the minifigures straight away. Straight away. Not even a question. Goodbye, you're going on eBay. Then, like you said, what I would do is I'd mock out all the buildings, out the instructions, and then I would tear them all back down, and I would start Brett mocking them, basically. you know, then I go to the parts drawer. Buildings that are 1 high then become 3 high. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That to me is all that Diagon Alley would be useful for me. Now, obviously, other people, you know, there are die-hard Harry Potter fans. Sarah Star Bricks, our good friend, she's got all the Harry Potter, which is nice. It's nice if that's your job, you know.
If that's what you like, that's great. If everybody liked the same thing, we wouldn't be able to buy them. There wouldn't be enough of them produced.
Well, again, there would be no PDFs because we'd all be building the same thing.
That too.
You know, when people say to me, "What is your preference, Bet?" My preference has always been Lego Trains and Lego City. But my real preference is Lego Train, Lego City, vintage Lego of any description. I'm not fussed what it is as long as it's got age to it.
And Lego Space.
Yeah, I like space. And, you know, there's one more that I forget, and I always forget this, but this is, again, one of the things that brought me out my dark ages 3.5 years ago, and that's my son's. And if you give me a second, it's still in here from last night. Here we go. Brett's Builds.
Castles.
And this is my oldest son's, and he had this probably when he was about 8 or 9 years old. It's a very old, very vintage castle set, but I'll spin it round so you can see it's got the new Harry Potter towers on it, which, yeah, like I said, I've done a little mocking, but this is my final theme. This is what, for me, you know, castle and space, I tend to find very easy to build. So for that reason, yeah, I may be
Hi, Brickfish.
Brett's Builds Trains and Lego City, but I'm also Brett's Builds Castles and Space as well.
Yep.
We got Bricks this viewing, Sloth. You want to give her a quick spin of your city, buddy?
I was just saying hello to her, and yeah, I like space, and that's why I ended up starting my amusement park, was because I couldn't think of any other way to fit it into Sloth City, and I had already determined that if I just started purchasing willy-nilly, you know, things would get out of hand. I needed to stick to a semblance of a theme, you know, to not scatter myself so thin. So, my partner gave me that deep space rocket launch, and then I was like, oh, wow, this is so cool. What am I going to do with it? I don't know. And then I thought, well, there we go. I'll just make a theme park, and I can make it part of the theme park. And so, yeah, the little track and the little cars that I don't know really what they would actually be used for. They seem kind of iffy as a reality-based sort of a thing. They make a great little roller coaster. And once I get the facade built up, that's going to be my my roller coaster. One of those, what do you call them? A dark ride, where you drive inside to it, and you know there's lights and things, you know, and special effects inside. You can't see it from the outside.
Bit like a ghost train, buddy.
Yeah, because I wanted to. Well, what I'd like it to be on the inside, I don't know how to create that with Lego, so that's why I'm going to have a facade, because I don't think it can be done.
I mean, again,
to do everything neon and lit up, you know. So I'm just going to let people imagine it.
Oh, so you want to steal all these translucent tiles that I've got that you like, then?
Well, it's not like I wouldn't use them. You know that I like them.
Yeah. Just for the record, earlier on,
the amusement park, and
Sloth said to me earlier, he said, I need the hospital up here for when people get hit by the trains. If that's the last Patreon that come out of the hospital, I don't think I'll be sending anyone in there, do you?
Let's see if I can actually get this open. There we go.
Just
And he's just like a pile of bones now. I think he's upside down. He's been dead for a while.
This thing that I'm displaying right here, if I can zoom back, is the hospital. Basically, what happened is one day, me and Sloth were talking, and he turned around and said, "Oh, have you built your hospital?" So with that, I sort of got off the phone to him, and half an hour later, we had this creation sort of appear from nowhere. So
I like it. I think it's cool as hell.
I like the red and the white. I think I captured it right this time. With other hospital mocks, you know, I have got the hospital set, the generic one the recent one, but I don't like generic. I like different. We know this, Sloth. We like stuff that's outside the box, mate. And if you look through the door there, you can actually see the eye test on the back there. You know, I F Y O U C A B. Yeah, and that's about My eyes gave up. But yeah, no, that was inspired by Bricksloth. He said to me, "Come on, Brett, build like hospital." So I just took what I had and built hospital.
Well, I think everybody needs a hospital if they're going to be responsible city planners.
Yeah, but that doesn't help real life, does it? Because I absolutely hate hospitals.
I do have a police station, but I don't think that we need the big, fancy, elaborate police stations that they like produce another one every 3 months. I don't know. They're always coming out with another one. And, you know, all of these different police vehicles. And I don't like any of it. I've got mine tucked away in a corner there next to the grocery store where maybe they can keep the grocery store from getting ripped off.
This is a pure example of how much fire they actually do. I've got drawers and drawers and drawers of it that just don't get used because it's all fire. The city's in the other room. So back to the
I think it's unlikely for my city to catch fire too, but I went ahead and put in a fire station just in case.
Back to the big question, Slothrin.
Yep.
Brixish, you can answer this one if you want as well. Your opinion is appreciated. So for this 72-hour stream, Sloth, do I put the train back up on 4 individual levels and bring some city in here for a little while?
Sure, why not?
Or do I just
There's no reason not to decorate for, you know, an event like that. You can always put it back in the other room when you're, you know, when the 72-hour stream is over.
Well, yeah, this is my fault, Sloth. If I'm going to change it all now, then I'm going to do what I would consider the last change of the year. What I will do now is if I change it and bring the city in here again, then what I will do is I will build the train up, I will build the city, and then obviously Christmas dependent, etc., etc. After Christmas, I would then decide whether to put the city back in the city room and rebuild the trains. It's a catch-22 because part of me wants to do it and the other part of me is worried about doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it'll be a hassle, but it's kind of a fun hassle.
It's not that. I could do so much more if I bought some of the city stuff in here because it's just sitting next door doing nothing. Well, it's not doing nothing, it's gathering dust. That's what it's doing. See, Brixis just said, yeah, I think you should have a bit of city so it won't look bare. The problem I had, Brixis, is when I first moved into this room, and I can turn the camera, the table that I'm pointing at here, this one, actually had the city on it, or a very small version of it, and I didn't like it. Hence, I took the city out of here and put it back in the other room where I could expand it. What I'm planning to do is basically use this table here only as the train table, and then use the other two tables as the city. Now I've got everything I need to build the city, everything, and probably enough to build 2 or 3 more, but I'm just, thinking, my head keeps saying to me, no, train. I mean, don't get me wrong, the baby's going to get the ump. Mind you, he's not going to get the ump, because then I should be able to run at least 2 or 3 trains at any one point, which means more batteries. But again, I don't mind.
Start stocking up on batteries now. You can never have too many.
I think I've got about 50 down on the floor, Sloth, so I'm all right for a little while, But I will get there. Look, we've just hit an hour. Could be a train yard. Do you know what, Brixis? If you go back through my channel, I actually built a train yard in the other room. I built quite a few things with the trains in the other room. I've been a little bit more stagnant since I've been in here. It's a lot easier to come in here, sit down, look at it and think, yeah. And that's what I do most days. Whereas when I was next door in the other Lego room, every day I went in there, I was non-stop building. The computer was probably second par to the Lego. Whereas now the computer is first par and the Lego is second par again, because I'm not. I mean, again, I can show you, and I'm going to show you Brixis. I don't know if you saw this last night, Sloth.
What?
Let me grab it right. Here we go. Last night I said about building the train shed, didn't I? Oh, I can see it. There we go. I don't know if you can see that all that well. My camera works atrocious. I do apologise. But as you can see, it's a bit of a train shed with a couple of trains in it. I've got to put it down because it feels very unsafe. Hey, there we go. It's not a Brett's Build video unless you drop tank. I did it properly, look. I dropped the train, didn't I? I dropped the hidden side train. But yeah, no. Right, I think, Slothrin, we've done an hour. In case you wasn't here earlier, Brixis, me and Bricksloth have both got a combined slot in the 72-hour. Hopefully you'll come along and support us. Sloth doesn't do major amounts of streaming. He's still easing his way into it, but yeah.
And plus, it's not that easy just doing everything with my phone.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for me to drop in on other people's streams than it is for me to stream myself. I don't think that I can invite people to stream on my phone. I don't think.
I mean, again, the phone thing's a little bit beyond me for a computer guy to say that. I know I look very stupid, but again, I'm very YouTube stupid, if that's the correct term. I'm new to all of this. I know that if you click 2 or 3 buttons, you can go live, and that's about the extent of my knowledge when it comes to streaming. And
I'm not stupid. I'm uninformed, but I'm also not that interested in becoming an expert. I'll leave that up to people who want to do that for their job or
this is it,
source of income.
As we said,
here to make friends.
We don't want people to be buying us Lego, don't get me wrong. My Lego friends, if one of them turned around and said, "Oh, Brett, I've got you a little set," I'm not saying I wouldn't accept it, but I'm not going to be property of YouTube for anybody's money.
No, we're not setting up accounts for people to give us donations and stuff. We don't need to.
I'm not being fair. I don't need money. If I need money, I'd go and get a proper job, like you've got, Sloth, and like Mrs. Brett's got. My job is to guard the children and to keep this YouTube on, the go. And yeah, I know the children have only just gone back and we're about to hit the weekend. But yeah, next week for Brett's Builds will be very different. I will be a lot more tired. Doesn't mean that I will be on any less. It just means I will be a lot more tired. You know, early starts. Look, Benny coming in. So I love about you, Sloth. You make me chuckle every time we talk, buddy. And here's
I
me.
stole the steering wheel off of that and put it into one of the cars. So now he's got. I think that looks better for that little cart anyway. It looks more industrial than the steering wheel that it did have.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think what we're going to do. Thank you very much for sticking with us, Brixish. Hopefully you like what you've seen. If not, go back, give the whole video a watch. We have a little rant. So everybody else does it. So yeah, you know, it's just all this PDF. I'm sorry. To me,
promoting our point of view, and our point of view is that creativity is better than building someone else's design, whether that is a private individual or whether that is the Lego company. I think it's more creative and people get more satisfaction out of building their own builds than by building just following directions. I know that even though, the directions can get you someplace, more advanced than you could do on your own, I would rather have my ugly, simplistic little builds because they're mine.
Yeah. It's not that every build shows every struggle that you have, every build, when you do it yourself, silly little things. And I mean, I watch people that do trains that have got 3, 4, 5 million subscribers. And when they're building the train sets, they forget to push plates down and it sticks up. And I think to myself, oh my God, if I was as big as you was, I'd have took that video down and redone it by now. But that's what makes me glad I'm not that big. To work off what Brixish said, sorry, I will get it out. It's getting late in the UK. You turned around and said that you like my mock. Now, to me, that's the inspiration I need to build another straight away. Right there. The fact that you like that and you put in the chat, I like that, Brett, makes me think, maybe I'll do another one tomorrow, And that's what Lego's about to me. It's not about, oh, look, I can click a button, I can get an instruction, I can follow that instruction. What do I do now? Anyway, ran over. I've got to say a big thank you to my good friend Bricksloth for coming on this late with me.
And thank you for having me.
Fish for turning up to see two old people having a good old rant about Lego,
Hello to anybody who watches this, whether they were watching it live or whether they're watching a replay.
That's it. We're never gonna be, pardon me, we're never going to be huge YouTubers because we don't have that intention. We just want people to enjoy what we do and maybe have a bit of fun and a laugh and a joke with us at the same time. And I think on that note, it's going to be a goodbye from me.
You guys have a good night or day or whatever you're having when you're watching this.
And take care, stay safe, and remember, PDFs are not your friend.
Be creative.